District. This is Tuesday, January 26, 2021. Time is 9 a.m. Let the record reflect that all supervisors are present at roll call, with the exception of Supervisor Simonson. Madam Chairwoman.
Good morning, everyone. Public comments, does anybody have anything? Okay, thank you. John, you're on first.
Okay, start up with some smaller stuff. So we just did the second installment of Pine Straw throughout the community. That happened the week before last, some of you may notice. We got a little vandalism this weekend on 16 Pro T. Somebody drove up and then down. They did a pretty good job. We think we found the truck, but we really can't. It's circumstantial.
Yeah.
So.
How much damage do you have?
We had to top dress it pretty heavily. I don't know. Nobody really plays that tee. It's the back part of the Pro Tee.
I do.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is maybe let's just get into the spring, see how it heals up. If it's still very noticeable, then we'll just cut it out and resod it in the summertime.
Jeff, don't we have something in April we'll be using that too?
April.
The qualifier or something?
Yeah, the qualifier for the Chubb is here. But I don't know, they play blue tee, so it's about 6,600.
Okay, so we can work around that.
Store, yeah.
Okay,
Should be able to work around it.
okay.
Oh, and that's in April?
April 5th.
April 5th. No, April 9th. April 9th.
April 9th. Well, I'll keep an eye on it in March, and if it doesn't look like it's going to be, maybe I'll just order some solder.
We'll work on it and see what the distance is, because they should let us know what distance they're
And
going
you
to
said
want.
6,600, Jeff?
Yeah, they pay about 6,600. The South Florida PGA will be here a couple days before.
Okay.
Go through that.
I understand we can't necessarily link the individual, but maybe we should go have a talk with them. I'd be glad to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I have pictures, I have, an address. It happened Friday night. Todd sent me some pictures, and he went around and drove around the neighborhood, and he found this truck that has on the step side a pile of dirt about this high, fresh. And the way we looked at it, if that thing was going down the highway, a lot of that dirt would blow off, But he lost the tracks basically going down Bellhaven, but that's where he found the vehicle.
So there were vehicle tracks that led him to Bellhaven, but they kind of faded away.
Right, and I'm not a detective, but there's a set of tracks that Todd took pictures of that are a perfect imprint in the grass, not torn up. And from the naked eye, and for me, it doesn't seem like it matches. It just, but until you pour a mold and kind of compare it, it's kind of hard to, I'm not a, but I was talking to Todd over the phone about it. I said, if I had to make a call on this, I'd say I don't think it matches.
All right.
Okay.
So just from using my eye,
We haven't had anything there.
It's been a while,
5
man.
years, maybe.
And they did a good one. You know how high that hill is to get up there? It's definitely a truck. It was definitely a truck.
So the damage on top of the T-box or on
A
the...
little bit of both. It's kind of on the down slope on the, a little bit, but then, when they got on top and they kind of came up off the road and then came back down.
You think it was actual vandalism, or they maybe ran off the road drunk or something?
No, definitely, man.
Yeah, okay.
Because you can tell when they got to the top where they decided to spin the tires. You know what I mean? They got to the top flat part, spun out, and then come down.
I get it.
Yeah, and there wasn't any. You hit that curb at anything over 5 miles an hour, you're going to hit something on the front end of your vehicle and do some kind of damage. So they had to kind of get up there and creep up and then go.
Yeah.
Come down. So in front of everybody, I gave you. There's a big packet. On the very front of it's a quote from Precision.
I'm sorry, John. I just wanted before you got on, we're going to the next topic.
Yes, sir.
We were having issues in that area. Again, it's been a while. And it was what, 15 green? That was the problem? Somebody drove on 15 green?
A long time ago.
At that time, I mentioned this, and bear with me. I know we're talking about maybe doing some landscaping and so forth and so on. You got a whole area there that is just, you got a stop sign, you got easy access to 15 green, 16. Anybody that's got a wild hair could drive anything through those areas. And what I talked about at that time was maybe just throwing palmetto bushes, something in there, some kind of barrier in there that would protect that situation. I hate to spend money just on something that maybe will never happen again, but we do have a history of something happening in that area. It's a big area that we just have to mow.
Yeah.
Throwing it out. I'm not gonna have an answer today, but in this landscaping idea, I think we need to look at those type of areas and figure out some way to plant things that will look nice, but yet also serve a purpose as some yahoos costing us tens of thousands of dollars trying to repair things that should never have been repaired or happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my piece.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I'll bring that up at the landscape committee when we're
Yeah.
looking at things.
So for the minutes, how exactly do you spell Yahoo?
So if anybody's been playing golf recently, we're having some issues with some of the drainage in the greens on putting green. 12 and 13 are the three worst. It's happening a little bit on most greens, especially on the back. And I had a couple people come out. I had some soil samples taken. We use a service called Turf Dietitian. They do quarterly soil samples, give us nutrient levels, total dissolved solids, salt content, bicarbonate, all that kind of stuff. And just to give us a snapshot of where we are throughout the year, if there's anything out of whack, your pH or anything like that. I called him out because back in late October, early November, we started to notice a real negative change in the putting green for no apparent reason. We couldn't tie it to any one thing. We knew it was holding water, but we didn't know why. We didn't know if it was the excessive amount of traffic, being tucked in the corner there with not a lot of air movement. And then when Mike came out, as soon as he walked on there, he said, "This is definitely drainage." And I said, "Mike, I knew it had to be something with drainage, but I couldn't figure out why. I could never pinpoint any one thing. I think it's the drainage, but it's also other mitigating factors, the traffic, the shade. That's why some greens are worse than others, 12 and 13 being tucked behind the trees, not getting good sunlight all day. Whereas right now we're clearing up over here behind 12, just trying to get some more air movement and airflow. There's some nice tall pine trees back there I'd like to take down.
Take them down.
So, and so, every green's going to be a little bit different. Unfortunately, on 13, I can't take any of those down. They're the cypress trees. That's a preserve area. It's dedicated as a preserve area. I contacted the company Precision. They sell golf course equipment, all kinds of stuff, but they also sell what's called Precision Air. It's a form of air. It's an air movement system that you hook up to your drainage system, and you can pull the moisture out of the greens. You hook up it's a little pump on a trailer. You hook up to there, and you turn it on, and you pull moisture. So no matter when it rains, what time of year it is, you can go right out there and just start, even while it's raining, you can start pulling that moisture faster and get it out of there so it doesn't sit. Because one of the main issues with these greens is the greens drainage is definitely not up to USGA standards as far as the layout of it, how it's supposed to be laid out in the green. In a USGA spec green, every green's supposed to have a smiley face drain around the perimeter. There's not a single green out here that has that. And that's probably the most important drain in a green, because all the water comes to that low end. What doesn't get intercepted with the ribs all comes to that low area and has to sit and either get absorbed through the ground or whatever goes to that little bit of pipe that's right there at the outfall. I called them up, I submitted and with that package is the complete drainage as-built that we have for the golf course, so you can take a look. I submitted that to Precision Air to have him look at, and he called me, or I called him late yesterday, and he said he'd call me back, but we ended up playing phone tag for a little bit, so I got to call him when I leave here today to see if there's any issues that we may have with the greens drainage as far as the way it's designed. So far, everything seems pretty good, but I told him to take a look at it, go over and just make sure there's nothing. I didn't want to get blindsided by anything or, get surprised by anything. The price tag for this to do all greens, including the trailer to pull along the pump, is just over $30,000.
So this is for everything?
This is for everything.
Okay.
Now, the nice thing about this system is in 7 years, when it comes time to rebuild these greens, we can take these out and put them on the new greens. So you can have them for basically forever, essentially forever. It's very simple. We'll install them. They'll send us the kits. We'll install them ourselves. I figure, going over these ads, but so many times, more than likely we'll probably get 1 to 2 greens a day. So it'd take us probably about a week. We'll do the worst ones first, test them, run them, make sure we're doing, everything's good, and then we'll go out from there.
So John, this is essentially to pull water out of the green in a slow process, or get major water out?
In a major way. So what this is going to really help us out is about mid-August, when we're getting the heavy rains from the summertime and we're getting into this fall transition. And this is how I was thinking when I would start, would be about mid-August. Anything from mid-August forward, if we start getting heavy rains, we'll go out to especially these greens, we'll go out to these greens first and pull that water out now. You know what I mean? So it doesn't sit there, because what's happening is the water's sitting there, and then we get that cool, cold weather, and the grass is transitioning, not going dormant, but it's transitioning from, summer to fall. And it doesn't grow as much. We've had some very cloudy weather up until late last week for the majority of winter time. It's been supposed to be bluebird skies in the winter down there. So that's another factor in it, If you see now, the greens have got great color to them after this week, after this warm weather. They're looking very good, very healthy.
Well, the reason I ask is because could those systems be used in our troubled areas that cause us to shut the course down when a heavy rain happens?
You mean as far as the fairway system, like in the fairway?
Yeah, the things that cause the cart path, us to close the course because of cart path.
I've never seen it used on a fairway. I'm not saying it couldn't if you got creative with it, if you had the right infrastructure in place, if your drainage was designed to do that. Because you gotta remember, in a greens drainage, that pipe in that green is all perforated, has holes in it.
Yep.
In a fairway drainage, everything has to go to a catch basin and then flow out to a lake. So it all has to go to a certain point.
Yeah.
We're not, so I don't know if
We blow it to that point, I think is what.
Well, this company obviously specializes in these types of things. I'm sure we can comprehensively work this whole thing in to where we can mitigate having to shut the golf course down.
Like we did that one day in December.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's worth a question, John.
well, the thing is, we would have to install more drainage in those areas to make it work.
The ultimate way not to close the golf course down would be to
Redo the car park.
finish out the cart paths.
Yes. That would be.
And I think that, to John's point, I've seen this in action. I've seen it at Augusta National. I've seen it at TPC Sawgrass, where it's all built in. This is a portable there. It's built in throughout the golf course. And I've seen like 2 inches of rain, massive thunderstorm hit Augusta, and they were playing by 1 o'clock. It was at 10 o'clock.
Yep.
They turn it on, it sucks all the air, it sucks all the water right out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets a little bit more complex. They have, Augusta, they also have heating and cooling in the greens. They can heat them up, heat up the root zone, cool it down in the hot time.
But that's also Augusta.
Right, that's what right.
I was just going to ask you if you won that lottery right now.
So the point I'm trying to make is, to John's point, this is an important investment towards making it to 2027 with the existing greens, because that's got to happen. To redo the greens is a $750,000 project, and we need to pay the bond off first and pay the bunker rent off first, and then be in a position to have Chuck go to a bank and get us the loan and redo those greens in 2027. And when we do them, we need to do them right. It was a little bit half-baked the way they did it in 2010. They didn't do some of this drainage correctly, therefore John's running into these issues. And I gotta give John kudos. I, as just a guy who's been around golf for a long time, when I saw the edges of the green going, I looked at the weather and thought, well, we haven't seen weather like this in a decade. Here you go, this is, the edges are dying out because of mow pattern around that area. But no, John went out and actually solved the problem and found things that are going to allow us to get to 2027. Because nothing can be more important for this golf course than making those greens last till 2027. Even if that means the last couple of years we've got to overseed those greens, we've got to get to 2027.
Agreed there.
Agreed.
Yes.
So, there's already a drainage system there. We've had them blown out. It's been a while.
It's
It might even been before your time.
Yeah, it was back in 2000, December of 2009.
So, for me, the novice here, I'm assuming this system is going to be installed onto that system?
Yes.
Or they work?
Onto the current drainage system.
Okay.
You dig
Are we
down.
blowing out the current drainage system, or can we?
So Jim Hill, yes, so I have a gentleman, Jim Hill, the gentleman who cleans the drains, he's coming out, and let me show you some pictures since you guys got it.
That was in 2010 was the last time we had.
December 2009, and then the greens are redone that following spring.
Okay.
At the time, that was said to be a salt issue, but the more I thought about it and all this research and I'm looking at, I don't think it was because, one, these spots, I got pictures of those greens, these spots are happening in the exact same areas, almost identical. Two, if it was a salt issue with the water, what has changed with the water? We get the majority of our water from Lee County. That's the majority. We do have auxiliary wells.
Right.
I haven't turned them on. We test them every once a year. We'll run them, just to run maybe, I'll leave them on for a minute, just to make sure everything runs. Just kind of open them up, close them, okay, we're good. But as to use them as to auxiliate our water usage, we haven't used them in 6, 7, 8 years.
Right.
So, because I know that the well water, especially that deep well water from the aquifers, does have a lot of salts and bicarbonates in it. You'd think it'd be super fresh, but not necessarily for grass. That hasn't changed. So what I'm thinking might have happened was once these greens were flushed out back in '09, they were redone, so you really never got to see the benefit because you kind of regrassed. But with that being said, that was the last time they were done. Now, if you look at any, I'll just pick it one, like number one. If you look at number one, greens drainage, if you see the little circles on the outside, and I'll kind of show you guys one.
Okay, little circles on the
Yeah,
end.
you see the little, so you see how like on the one on the left it says 56 feet to the main
Right.
trunk line? Well, that's a flush out. That little circle, they got drainage pipe running up on the outside of the green. We got to find them, dig down, and then we'll take the cap off and we can stick up that hose down there. But if you look, that only does that 56 feet. You can't turn that hose. Once you get to an end stop or an end, you can't like wrap it around a turn and go another direction. So on one, we're going to be able to do that 56-foot line. The main trunk line, you see the 4 inch solid,
Right.
and then the other 37 feet.
But in doing those 4 spots, it will.
Absolutely.
It'll help
Just
the
that
rest of the
alone,
green.
yes, especially the main trunk line is going to help. That's going to be, as far as going back to typical greens drainage, you have a lot of odd things here. And if you can think of one, the green, the subfloor of a green has to match the surface of the green. So whatever you see on top, the contour, that has to be on the bottom. That's how you maintain your level of mix of 12 to 14 inches. You can't have areas that are, 18, 20 inches. You can, but you're not only going to get away with it for so long. And that's one of the issues we have too. Now we have a lot of areas in our greens, we got 20 plus inches of mix. You start out with 12 to 14, but over time, air fine, top dressing, it builds up. You also build up what's called sand dams around the greens. You get from top dressing so much and drag it. And then this summer we're going to go out, you'll see us, we're going to sod strip a lot of these collars, leave them bare, and the grass is going to grow back. We'll do that early on, so it'll be grown in by June, mid-June. But just things like that, so it's the drainage is what's the main cause, but there's a lot of little mitigation factors that can compound it, make it worse. And that's what you're seeing on the putting green 12 and 13, whereas like 11 has some very small areas, most people wouldn't even notice. But being out there every day and working on this, I'm checking every green, looking at them, where is it starting, what can we do, in our power right now, besides having him come out and clean, what can we do here that would help the situation? So that's the proposal for it. Sub-Air no longer does these kind of units, the portable, they only do in-ground. So they got I wasn't able to even get a quote from them. But there is a possibility to maybe save a little bit more money on their older pool units. There's a club in Dallas that had 3 of them, and they just went to all in-ground units. So they said they might be willing to sell them for, you know, a few thousand less than what Precision is selling theirs for. I don't know if it's really worth it, because we're not gonna get a warranty with that, and with Precision, at least we're gonna have the warranty on it. You know, I thought about that over the weekend, I was like, yeah, I mean, it is $3,000, but
Is it worth it in the long run?
and they told me the reason Sub Air said that they stopped making them is because when they were people would suck in the water, it would get into the crank of the machine and it would make bearings spin out, and they were just having too many problems with it, so they stopped doing it. And I asked Precision Air about that, and they said they don't have any issues like that. It's true.
I'd rather not pick up something old if we're going to have to use this for the next 6
What's it gonna
years.
cost to ship it too?
So that shipping price is in, the freight is in that total price. We added that in.
From Sub Air?
Oh, that from, I don't even know. I did buy a piece of equipment from a Little League or a minor league baseball team in Memphis a few years back, and I want to say the shipping on that was probably about $800, and it's about the same size out right, you know, right about the same size.
Now you're down to saving only
Let's just get new
$2,200.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah, especially since we're going to need to use this for at least the next 6 years and then carry it forward. It'd be foolish to buy somebody else's problem, quite honestly.
Yeah, and also, we're gonna have the ability, if we wanted to, down the road, you know, after 27, we pay the bond, if we're gonna go ahead and redo the greens, we can definitely look into there to, at that time, to put the other part into where we can blow air into the greens. And maybe have a whole complete system, which would be great. You know, the more options you have, you know, the better. So, but that's what it is right now. I have a phone meeting with this gentleman, Andy, with Precision Air today. We're gonna go over these as-built and make sure there's, like I said, there's nothing gonna surprise us, or he might say, hey, you might have to come in here and add this in, or, you know, cap this off or something like that, so.
This guy Jim is coming tomorrow to help.
Jim is coming tomorrow to start on the trouble
flush.
greens. We're gonna
Okay.
do, I have on schedule 10, 12, 13, 14, and probably 15, if we have time.
Okay. When would you want to start this?
As soon as possible. We can do this in play, especially doing 12 and 13, or 10, 12 and 13, get those done, you know, as soon as possible, get them in now. And then, you know, just slowly implement them in, you know.
How soon could they get all this equipment to you?
That I'm not sure yet. We haven't gotten that far. We haven't put a complete, because I haven't told them exactly how many I needed. I just did a count the other day and got everything, so that I'm not, they're on the other coast, so it's not, I couldn't imagine it'd be too long.
Okay.
They're a huge company, they're nationwide, but their headquarters is on, I want to say either Palm Beach or Boca.
Pompano Beach,
Pompano.
just saying.
So I know that's something you guys would probably want to, you know, think about or vote on, or.
Well, we have to vote on it. Can I have comments?
Are you going to do all of them, all the greens?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, starting out doing the worst ones first, getting those in and getting that system running on those so we can, you know, and then while we're installing the rest, we already have the ability to work on those and keep them.
And the putting green?
Putting green, yeah, that'll be one of the first, putting will be one of the first ones.
That's
Putting green, 12, 13, 14 will be the first 3 or 4. 7, we'll probably move, you know, we'll be bouncing around. I'm not gonna go in any kind of specific, we'll do the worst ones first.
Any comments from the board? Phil? Any comments, Chris?
It's either pay now or pay a lot more later.
I agree.
And like I said, the real nice thing about this is the fact that we can take it with us. When it comes time to redo them, we can just take them out and put them in the new ones, and that'd be awesome to have that ability. Because if I'm still here when that time comes, I'm not gonna let this happen. I won't let this happen again
You're not leaving.
to us. This, as far as some of this drainage. And I'm kind of curious to see what Andy says to me on the phone today, because I said, hey, why don't you look at this and tell me what you're thinking? Because I built golf courses for 6, 7 years. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it looked like you gave a 5-year-old a crayon or a pen and just said, here, man.
Well, you're probably looking at the cheapest possible way to do it.
Yeah.
And with U.S. Homes history of everything is the cheapest possible way to do it.
Right.
Well,
You guys live in U.S. Homes, you know. I mean, they did it on the golf course.
Even with the bunkers, they didn't have the right drainage in the bunkers.
No.
That was one of the reasons we had to redo all those.
So once again, you know, here we are paying for the original not having it done correctly, but let's make sure in 2027, when we redo the greens, that it's done correctly. Therefore, for the next 20 years of those greens, you don't have those kind of worries or problems.
Now, is it something we can capitalize this, right, Chuck? Well, a motion? What do we think?
I'll make a motion that we move forward with this. Do we really have to vote on this? $30,000, but I guess we should.
I'll probably be able to keep, I mean, I know we're gonna capitalize it, but I could probably even work it into the year's budget if we really wanted me to.
You capitalize it. Smart.
I would say let's make a motion that we spend not more than, and you think that this is a reasonable price?
Yeah, I would say, what is a little, like 31? I'd say put it at 35, just in case, just to, so I don't have to come back with my tail between my legs.
Chris has a motion.
Yeah, we accept this, but not to go over 35,000.
Exceed 35.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, John, work with them and keep us posted as far as what they can do so that we can get this going. Also, I had asked that after Jim does the blowout of the drainage things tomorrow, that you just email Chuck so he can let us all know how it went and what the progress is.
Absolutely. Now, thank you for saying it, because tomorrow I'm going to take as extensive notes as I can.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we don't have the ability to take a picture with that camera that goes in the drain.
Okay.
And I tried taking pictures on his display screen that's in a box, but with the glare and everything, then the camera taking a picture of a screen, that doesn't usually work out.
Yeah.
But if I can get any good pictures, I'll take them. But I'm going to take extensive notes on every flush out we go to, what I saw.
And he should be able to tell you what the issues are.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
How high is the water level right now at this outfall, at this lake, and then if, how high does that push up? Because a lot of the water on the course, I don't know if you guys noticed, it's taking a while to drain. Usually by start of December, a lot of these areas, 11, 12, they're dry. And
Yeah.
we just now were able to get back there behind 11 Green, areas like that, behind 16 over on the far left back there.
Yeah, you're right.
So, just there's a lot of things to look at and make notes on it and, and document. And we'll do my absolute best, trying to make it as comprehensive as possible.
Okay, thank you.
And then on the other notes, I got some budget issues to work on. I don't know if we want to wait till financials for that, or?
That you have questions with
Questions,
within
right,
the
as far
financials.
as-
Let's wait
as far
till we
as
get to that. Okay.
Yeah, I have the same question.
Staffing, you're fine?
Staffing, we're still one down like we're supposed to be for this time of year, and I was thinking about this on the way here. We're definitely gonna have to have a nice discussion about payroll in budget season. It's definitely something that's gonna have to be coming up. I know it's a 6-year program they got, but there's other issues. We kind of talked about it.
We talked
the other day,
about that,
You know what I
yes.
mean? So I think that's something we really need to, that's a cost that I don't think we're gonna can avoid.
Right, and we're going to have to, and unfortunately, it may come to, as many other businesses, laying off people. And I hate to say that, but, I was just briefly looking at it based on what we do. It's going to cost us a lot of money. I think this payroll jumps right now to $15 an hour. I think I figured roughly $62,000 for the year.
Wow.
It's a lot
For
of
just
money.
this year?
I did it on an annual basis, so it would be really 9 months of that.
Isn't that tiered though? I mean, is this, I
Well, I don't know, the new thing is he doesn't,
you don't jump right up to 15.
It's in tiers over a 5-year period.
Tiered in Florida, but if they pass that federally,
if they
it goes just
federally
like
place,
that.
if he federally passes that to jump everybody,
It's tied to the $1,400 stimulus, and if it
Yes.
passes, it can go automatically to $1,500.
Yep.
And
so that's, so I was looking at that as the outside number, hoping that it's not, but yes, we still have to work on that.
And to give you guys an idea, I have one employee that's paid over $15 an hour. One.
Yeah, well,
And then, Phil, the other thing we were talking about is, okay, now you're paying this person $15 an hour. This person who's been here for 6 years making 16,
Oh, I know,
had to
there's a
work their
ripple
way
effect.
up. Now they're gonna be like, well, hey, I'm only $1.50 ahead of minimum wage. What about, my time and effort and work? So it's a snowball effect. I mean, there's gonna be some windfall to it, no doubt. Like Jeff said, I just hope it doesn't become federally, because 6 years, gives us some time. It's basically 6 years, I think, once I did the math. It's kind of
Once we bump it up.
It's about 6 years, actually.
But to
Right.
slam it all at one shot.
It's gonna be, it'd be devastating to a lot of people, a lot of people.
A lot of businesses. So anyway, we'll talk about that. Okay.
So that's really all I got right now, unless you guys got any questions for me or about anything else going on.
Now, we'll talk to you later about the landscape committee, because
Okay.
I would like you to pop into a meeting.
Sure. I'm so sorry I missed that.
I know.
I'm upset you didn't call me, but I figured you would.
Oh, no, I figured, well, you said you had that other meeting, and that was
Okay.
fine, no problem. Jeff?
Well, we're having a really good month in January so far. The weather's been good for us, not so great for growing grass, but it's been good for us. We haven't had really a rain day. We've had a solid month. If you look at what I provided for you, we're within $35,000 of budget, 7 days away from the end of the month. So I would estimate we'll make over budget by between $30,000 and $50,000 for the end of the month, which is awesome.
You can just turn it over to John.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned about February. February is stated pretty high if you look at that, so we'll see. I mean, every month you never know with the weather. Well, basically, weather, if the weather's good, we're good. If not, we'll see what happens.
And we were very concerned about, and we budgeted accordingly for the Canadians and the Europeans not being here.
Some Canadians are showing up, no Europeans, but some Canadians are coming in, they're flying in, they're shipping their car and flying in. A couple that I've seen, we are missing some, but a couple that I've seen have done that. But a lot of people, they don't have anything to do except play golf, so they're playing golf.
Well, that's what somebody said.
And I heard yesterday on the news that there's another consideration of a complete board closure for like a 30-day.
Terrific.
Great.
The other thing, right before the meeting started, Mike shared with me, we put together a package of rules and regulations for the golf course, and in that package was a rate and fee structure. And we were asking that rate and fee structure, set it as high as you possibly can, because that'll give you the flexibility to go to that rate. And somebody out there is thinking that we're going to go to $200. Nobody's going to $200. Especially at the group or resident rate. It's not even close to that. The current rack rate, and rack is the highest rate. It's like looking at a car on the lot and here's the price. Rack is $140. We sell a couple of those a day. We discount from that down to what we sell on Golf Now, which is $125. And then we go to group at $95, and then we go down from there to a resident of $75. Nobody's going to $200. And the person that said that should really be careful about what they're saying. If you care about the golf course and you care about your community, you wouldn't say that, because it puts us in a jeopardized situation of people thinking they're going to go away from the golf course. We are not going to $200 anytime soon. Now, the last time this was updated was 1999. In 20 years, could we be at $200? Maybe. I don't know. We try to go by what the market's allowing. Down the street at Cold Corkscrew, they're getting close to 200, and Raptor Bay's close to 200, and these are two of our primary competitions. St. Carlos is a little bit below us. So we're somewhere in the middle. I don't understand why someone would go around spreading a rumor that we're going to $200. They need to read better into what they see and go from there.
And the thing is that this plan needed to be updated every 5 years, which we have not done. And we are covering ourselves for the next 5 years. Rather than Jeff saying the highest we can charge is $150, then we're going to have to go, and the prices allowed us, then we'd have to go back and redo the whole thing. That's the only reason that those prices look outrageous. It's to cover us for the next minimum of 5 years. So when rumors start like that, and Jeff's gotten questions, Mike's gotten questions, we have the CDD website or email, Chris. Email that. Contact Jeff. Don't go spreading rumors that, oh my God, it's going to be $200. That's not the case. And it's just frustrating that residents are out there saying that, oh my God, it's going to be $200. You're going to get charged $200. So let's just be realistic about it and read what's there and know that this is just, we had to give parameters, what we thought. So, okay, Jeff, you can.
Yeah. Other than that, the junior golf's going well. The junior golf fundraiser we held in December was terrific. We were able to pay the club $2,300 for use, which we really appreciate the club allowing us to be able to have that usage, which was basically just $100 short of our entire budget for the year. Now the kids are starting to come back. We're starting to get some of the programs restarted. We're working close with the Andy Scott School of Golf. I'm doing some after-school stuff as well. So, Saturday we had 14 in the first class, 17 in the second class, and 13 in the third class. So kids are coming back, feeling more comfortable. We're doing the best we can to provide COVID, service as far as that goes. We have gone to 2 riders to a cart, and lots of groups and organizations have worked out systems where you're able to ride with the same person consecutively if you want. We didn't buy cart dividers, and I've taken a little bit of, lip for that, but I think we made the proper decision because apparently from what was said on the news last night, they're looking at sometime in April will be good, and the majority of our customers are over the age of 65, and they're able to get vaccine. So hopefully, hopefully.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky and you get on the phone quick enough.
The other thing that I will say, and I had a woman that I played golf with that has not played that much because she didn't want to be in a cart with somebody else. And I said to her, if I'm in a cart with you and you want me to wear a mask, I'll wear a mask. I'll be respectful of what the cart partner is asking. Do I like it all the time? No, nobody does. But the bottom line is, if I'm playing with Mike and Mike says, Eileen, I'd like you to wear a mask, I'll wear a mask. And I think we all need to be respectful of other people's requests because we want people out there. So that's just, my personal opinion there, whether you do what's best for the person you're playing with. And hope